everyone, welcome back. I've been kind of stressed and burnt out over the last week or so I just really wanted to do something where I could sit down and play The Sims without having to record myself while I was doing it. So that is what I did, and I ended up making my Sim self and a little cottage and farm in Henford on Bagley for her. So my dream is to move to Scotland and have a little cottage where I can have a garden with some vegetables and have my own chickens and stuff like that, and just do my arts and crafts all day every day. That would honestly be a dream. So that is why I love cottage living so much. I am truly a cottagecore bitch. I didn't have an emo phase as a kid. I had a twee indie folk phase, which isn't necessarily 100% related, but I feel like that's kind of a gateway into cottagecore. But as far as my Sim self goes, I've not tried to make myself in The Sims since I was a child. So I don't have all that much experience when it comes to doing something like this, but I don't know, I think I ended up with a Sim that kind of looks like me, at least a little bit. From some angles I was kind of looks like a younger version of my mum, and I get told I look like my mum a lot, so I think that means I was at least a little bit successful. Back when I was playing The Sims 1, we really didn't have many curly hair options. And I think we could still have more curly hair options, but I think this one that I've gone with is pretty close to what my hair actually looks like. But the hairline for all Sims is just so far forward. I don't have a big forehead, but I feel like the Sims hairlines are just way too close to their eyes. I don't know. You'll see it a part of this video of me just dragging all of the features down the face because they were too close, they were too far up. But I actually found picking the outfits to be more difficult than I thought. I was thinking, would I actually wear this in real life if given the opportunity? And quite a few of the times the answer was no, not really. But one outfit that you will see is the first formal outfit, and the reason that I gave myself a straight hairdo in that is because the dress that I picked out looks a lot like the dress that I wore to my Year 12 formal. So I decided to recreate my formal look from Year 12. It's not bad actually, it kind of holds up, but yeah, that was 10 years ago almost. I unfortunately do not still have that dress because the zipper broke just before I was meant to leave to go to formal, and I had to be sewn into the dress, and then when I came home I had to be picked out of it. So the dress didn't last very long, but I did have a good time, which is saying something because I really didn't enjoy high school, but formal was fun. I danced so much in my ridiculously high heels that I couldn't feel one of my toes for a week, which I think means I had fun. I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, it's kind of hard to create a Sim self. Another thing about me is that I wear the same jewelry all the time, and I wear my earrings 24/7. I do not take them off, so I had to go in and find earrings for my Sim to wear for sleepwear, swimwear, workout, everything, because I do not take my earrings off. I take the rest of my jewelry off, but not my earrings. I'd probably take them off if I went swimming in the ocean, just in case. But otherwise, no, they just stay on all the time. And I also tried to go with the most accurate athletic wear that I possibly could, which is just leggings and a t-shirt. I have worn shorts over leggings for athletic wear before, so that's what I went for. And also sleepwear. I wear a lot of nightgowns that are kind of a bit extra, but they're my pajamas. So, who's judging me? Yeah, for my everyday makeup, I don't usually wear that much eyeliner, but unlike Sims, I have eyelashes, so I went for slightly thicker eyeliner in the hopes that it would kind of look like I had eyelashes from a distance, but it probably doesn't look like that. Anyway, and then I decided to go through and change all of the nails for all 5 of the everyday outfits because I am the type of person who would match their nail polish color to their outfit. So that's what I did. I think my favorite outfit that I made myself was probably the second cold weather one, because I have lived somewhere with real winter before. Despite the fact that I'm Australian, I lived in the northeast of Japan for 4 years, and they get a fair bit of snow up there. So I have experienced snow, but I'm still just 100% skirt, stockings and boots, just no matter how cold it is. Maybe I'll wear leggings over the stockings. You never, it's possible, but I always wear skirts. I very rarely wear pants. So that's kind of what it's about. And I do tie my hair back if I'm in the snow, because otherwise it just gets wet. But that second cold weather outfit is probably my favorite. I'd wear that 100%. I think it looks really nice. For my, it's kind of hard making yourself in The Sims and then having to pick like traits for yourself because you're limited to 3. Where in real life, I have more than 3 personality traits. Like, I'm a vegetarian, but that's not like a huge part of my personality. So I ended up going for creative, perfectionist, and loner because I feel like those are the 3 traits that would kind of impact my life the most and make it more accurate. And I did put in my likes and dislikes, but I kind of think I have to go in and change them because I said I disliked brown, which isn't really true because this build that I'm about to show you ended up being like mostly brown and I like it. I do kind of not like grey though. That's kind of true. I did set my aspiration initially for the Lady of the Knits aspiration, but I think I ended up changing it to country caretaker because I actually do want to play in this save. I do want to play as my sim self, but I want to try and get through as many aspirations as I possibly can. And I thought moving into Heaven on Bagley, the country caretaker one's probably a good place to start. So jumping into the house, I initially thought about making it a tiny home because I think about making every build a tiny home. And then I remembered that I wanted to build a greenhouse, so I just kind of threw that out the window and made it a little bit bigger than a tiny home. But it is still small because it's a 30 by 20 lot on 5 Cobblebottom Street, so in Finchwick in like the main town area. And the smaller the house, the bigger the garden, and I did want quite a large garden. So the house is still pretty small, but it's comfortable. There's not that many windows because I actually placed the furniture and then thought about where I'd want the windows to be. And it didn't really leave me with a whole lot of wall space. But that's fine because I put a nice little bench outside. So if I wanted to get some natural light, I could just sit outside in this fictional world that I've created for myself. I also decided that because I wasn't going to make a tiny home anymore, that I would make a functional attic. I've not put much up there yet, but I don't really know what's going to happen in this save. So I was kind of thinking that if I have a kid, maybe I could stick the kid in the attic, which is ethical. No, of course I went for a yellow kitchen. Every kitchen that I make is yellow. And that big Realm of Magic bookcase technically does not fit, but I don't care. I love it. And I did use the Realm of Magic bed as well, which just this one particular like emerald green swatch is, I love it. I think it's beautiful. And I would love to have that bed in real life. I don't have any room for it, and it doesn't match my room currently, but it's probably really expensive as well. But I really like that bed. I don't know. The good thing about not having many windows was I got to put ivy and wisteria like all over the walls of the actual house, which I think came out looking really nice. I did kind of skip over a few of the bits like putting the windows in and putting the terrain paint down because it's kind of not very interesting to watch. And also in total, this took me 7 hours and sped up by 700%, that means that it's an hour of footage that I had to sift through, and I think I got it down to like 17 minutes, which I think is watchable. But yeah, it was a lot. I did a lot, but I genuinely had a really good time, and I think it came out looking really nice. And I tried to kind of clutter the place up, which I usually do in builds, but it felt a lot more fun this time because I was building it for myself, and I use kind of my own living habits as a basis for where I would put things and what kind of things I would actually use. So there's like a billion rugs in this house and they're all different. That is 100% something that I would do, and something that I have done. So like putting perfume by the front door is something that I've done, because I put the perfume on before I leave the house. Like, I enjoyed cluttering up this space so much more than I have any other build, because it kind of felt real. Like on the little coffee table, I put the Knitter's Almanac because I always have something like cross-stitch, crocheting. I always have something going on, like next to whichever chair I'm sitting in, and also a box of tissues because I have allergies and I leave pairs of glasses everywhere. I only have two, but I leave them places. But yeah, I would absolutely love to live in this little cottage. Maybe one day my dream will come true, but not anytime soon, I don't think. Because I would love to have like a gardening space. I think part of the appeal for cottagecore for me is the kind of simple living lifestyle, because I've grown my own vegetables before. Like, I went to an agricultural high school. Part of my grade in year 7 literally relied on growing carrots, and I did a good job, by the way. They were good carrots. But yeah, we had like chickens and sheep, lambs, bees. Like, I'm loosely familiar with the idea, and I think I'm capable of doing it. Just this morning I pulled a bunch of mushrooms out of a pot that I have outside in my garden. I painstakingly just stacked books on the desk because I felt like that was a more realistic use of that space. I don't know if that desk is usable. So, you know, sometimes if you clutter up an area around a computer too much, you have to make your Sims sit down before they actually use the computer. So it might be a case of doing that. But I also did give myself an easel, because if I had the time, I would paint. You know, I did art all through high school. I do like drawing. I just don't do it very much. So sometimes I get the urge. I was like, if I just had some paint right now, I would just mindlessly just throw it on a canvas. But anyway, my idea for this greenhouse mainly came from wanting to use those vertical planters and also wanting somewhere to put skill building objects. I've actually never used the vertical planters, but I did some reading and looked at the kind of plants you can actually have, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna need about 6 of those actually. But I definitely struggled with the pond. As you can probably see by the amount of times I had to hide the fence like foundation. But I don't know, I think I surrounded it with so much stuff that it ended up looking okay. And also once I put like the mossy water in, it looked a lot better. But I think I put too many like ducks and tadpoles and fish and stuff in there. But I did go into live mode for a little bit once I finished the build, and it looks nice. I love ducks. Ducks are great. I was not initially thinking that I would put a tree there, but there's just something about that tree with the little berries on it that yep, I needed it, and so I left it there. I don't know how much of the place it's going to obscure because I decided to start the game in spring, so everything is still kind of dead from winter, so it's going to take like a couple of in-game days to actually green up. And then I put another fence in, mostly for the chickens. It's mostly for the chickens' benefit. Because like I want them to be able to roam free, but I don't really want them to just go everywhere, like all over the place. Like I don't mind them getting into like the plants and things, but I want to know where they are. And I have that place in the back specifically for fruit trees. I want fruit trees. And I also do want to do my own laundry, but in a tub instead of a washing machine. Because I don't know, simple living. It seems it seems romantic to me, I guess, but I don't know how easy it's gonna be. But anyway, I also could probably plant every plant in the game with the amount of planters that I have put in this build. But I don't know, maybe that'll be a challenge, because I have gone into like the options for this save and put it on long lifespan. So my sim self is gonna live for a while, and she's gonna do just so many aspirations and just collect things and just have a great time. And living vicariously through my sim self is what this build is about. Okay, here we are on 5 Cobblebottom Street, Headford on Bagley, and here are my ducks. I love them very much. And I have a turtle on my log, which I'm very excited about. And here's me. I'm doing fine. Let's go for an explore. So here's the front door. We have a little pond, a little bench to sit on. Then here is the chicken coop. I don't have any chickens yet. I will get some eventually, hopefully. A little washing line. Woo! And here's my garden with room for trees. I also have bees. I think they're doing particularly well at the moment. Oh, they come. Okay, good. And an insect farm. Here's our greenhouse. I am excited to grow things in here, and all that's left to explore is the actual house itself. Yeah, that's an entryway. Also, I do not wear shoes in my house. So I had a little shoe rug there. Here's the fireplace. I didn't get a TV because I actually really don't watch TV. But I did get music because I do listen to music a lot. And I've got to have bookshelves. I've got to have them. This stuff is for like out in the garden, out doing the laundry and whatnot. And the kitchen. I put these here as like little cookbooks. There's the ground floor, and then the stairs are up here and leading into this little hallway. The thermostat is here. I do have one of those. And here is the bathroom. I don't know how like super duper functional this bathroom is. It's quite close together, but I'm pretty sure it'll work because you Sims get in there. And then here's the bedroom. There's the chimney. Yeah, here's the desk, and I'm gonna put these in my inventory, however you want to say that, eventually. And then up here we've just got the little attic. I've got some storage, and I've also put the decorations up here. So yes, there is my little cottage that I've made myself. It looks a little bit drab at the moment because, as I said, it's literally like day 1 of spring, so everything's still kind of in winter mode. I brought my money down to 0 simoleons because I thought it would be an interesting challenge to kind of have everything but then not have any money to spend on anything. So I'm gonna have to like look for frogs or something in here. This pond is really deep, but I don't think your Sim's gonna drown in there, which is good. So yeah, I've got the country caretaker aspiration. I've already have way more than 1 garden patch. So hopefully this will not take me very long to get through, and I'm also on a long lifespan. So I have 86 days until I age up. And I kind of want this one to be calm, you know, relaxing. We're just gonna hang out with me, myself, and I. Okay, so that is all I have for you today. In exciting news, I have opened up a Patreon starting this month. I really like making content for YouTube, but it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, and I want to be able to keep doing this and also make better quality stuff. So if you could support me over on Patreon, that would be really wonderful. The lowest tier starts at $3 US, and you get a few benefits like voting in polls and behind the scenes little work in progress shots, and also I post a monthly playlist there as well full of songs that I like. So if that sounds good to you and you want to support me and you have a little bit of money to do so, please check out my Patreon linked in the description. Another way you can support me is by subscribing. It's free. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. And I will be back with another video for all of you very soon. Bye everyone! Yeah, I am actually going to play in this. As you can see, my dog's walking. I brought my money down to 0 simoleon.